Hey folks, I want to tell you about a bishop. He was a Roman Catholic bishop at the end of the 1800s, going into the early 1900s, I believe. He was located primarily in Western Canada. This guy did a lot. He built hospitals, he helped with community building, he helped build schools. He's seen someone as a hero, a person to be respected, a person to be honored. And because of all the work he did, because of the life he led in Western Canada, there's streets named after him, buildings with his name on it, businesses use his name as part of their identity. But that same bishop wrote things like this. That same bishop was one of the architects of the Indian residential schools here in Canada. He did it to make the students ashamed of where they come from, to make the students ashamed of their origins, their cultures, their customs, their language, their families, their communities, their way of life. He was the architect of a genocide, an attempt to destroy an entire people, nations, societies, communities. Yesterday, the city of Edmonton, Alberta, unanimously, the city council unanimously decided to remove his name from any city property, any buildings. There was a mural painted in his honor that they're going to cover up. And now I'm sure we're going to hear about cancel culture at some point. I'm doing this video a little bit prematurely because it does speak to all those things that get churned up when people start talking about taking down statues or removing people's names from streets or removing their names from schools. You're just rewriting history. You're canceling them. An Indigenous leader this morning on CBC said something that was just so incredibly brilliant. We're not rewriting history, he said. We're finally learning history. We're finally hearing the real history. And it's in that statement that we, I believe, can see a really good reason why we should be removing some of these people from those pedestals of honor. They were put there because of what we knew. But we know more today. We are learning more today. And we will continue to learn more as time goes on. And if we are learning more today, and if we know more today than we did 100 years ago when we first put his name on something, or more than 20 years ago when we first put his name on something, then our understanding is deeper. Our knowledge is deeper. And therefore our opinion is better informed. And we can make wise use of those opinions. We can make wise use of that knowledge. We can make loving use of that newly gained knowledge. We can take their names down. We can take their statues down. We can take them off of those places of honor. Not because we're rewriting history, not because we're making it up for ourselves, but because we know more now. we know that he was genocidal. We know that he had no regard for the indigenous peoples. We know that he was willing to go to incredibly horrific lengths to achieve his vile goal. We know that we would never name a street after him today. We know that we would never name a school after him today. We know that we would never place his name on a community building today. Why would we leave it up there? And the truth is this mentality we can use in all of these situations where we have these people that we've claimed to be heroic, that we've placed on that pedestal of honor. Here in Nova Scotia, there's a person by the name of Cornwallis. Now, I don't know a whole lot of his history, but I know this. Cornwallis was an absolute monster towards the indigenous peoples of Nova Scotia. And his name was everywhere. It was on streets. It was on towns were named after him. Buildings were named after him. Community areas, schools were named after him. It's okay. It's okay to remove him from that pedestal that our people placed him on a century ago. We don't have to be stuck with these idols. As our knowledge deepens, we can make new decisions. And we don't have to be afraid that we are canceling them. We're just choosing who we want to be associated with. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. I pray that you and I would lend our voice to this conversation, that we would lend our voice and speak up when we're able and when we're asked, for those whose voices have been ignored for so long. Amen.